I'm Sarah Russell.
I'm JQ Walker.
And we are
The Neurodivergent Report, a research-based podcast by and for neurodivergent brains.
In each episode, we'll explore topics relating to neurodiversity and coping strategies by reviewing the literature and discussing current topics.
We will also have interview episodes where we sit down with experts in the field and listeners like you, with the hope that together we can all learn to heal in community.
However you are able to engage, thank you for being here.
I just went to the eye doctors today, so I got like my eyes dilated. Luckily, I'm able to read. With the computer, you can zoom in also, make fonts bigger so that you can sort of refocus those eyes. Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
That is a big
don't
deal,
worry.
but should
Yeah.
you
Don't
just
worry.
got
The blur
eyes
behind me is not your eyes.
Good to know it's not just me. I have these, but I think they look really silly.
I've had to
What
wear
am I
those
like, Professor
recently.
X?
Yes. Oh yeah. There you go. Don't raise them; you'll zap us.
Such a niche reference. And I'm
Yes.
here for it.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Well, neurodiverse people know these strange references. So.
Exactly.
Yes.
Neurodivergent coded symbols, pop culture references. I love hearing it when I'm out. It's gonna be a way, I think, that we find safe community in the times to come, as well as now. I mean, we already use symbology to either embrace or stay away from particular people. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
hats and flags and, my mother-in-law said to me, like, I used to love displaying my American flag because, she's got a son who's in the military. But now it just doesn't feel as good. Just because you don't want people to associate you with those kinds of people. So symbology is already.
I have an upside down flag on my front door.
Yeah.
So you're really just letting the world know who you are, and that's brave. And I love that. I wish there were more of us.
Well, I think the older you get, it's kind of like the joke about, the threat of life in prison doesn't seem as bad the older you get. so you're willing to take more risks.
Yeah, we need to take more risks. Speaking of the military, you did spend a few years in the military, so I just wanted to introduce
that is a good segue.
You, Jonathan. Yeah, tell us about you. You have, just reading about your CV, had such an interesting life, so please introduce yourself.
I hardly even know where to begin, like, with this conversation. There are so many different angles we could go that I just tried to throw everything on the paper, and so we'll see what happens. But
Okay.
yeah, who are you? You're so many things.
Well, in terms of personality, I have, particularly in recent years, particularly since my diagnosis, tended to refer to myself as a cross between Don Quixote and Peter Pan. And around my home here, I have, between Don Quixote and Peter Pan, I have at least 15 different pieces of artwork in my house. So I've always sought to protect others, defend others, fight bullies. And that was a big part of my motivation to volunteer for the Army. In 1972, I had my 21st birthday in basic training. All the drill sergeants knew that, so every few minutes somebody was yelling, Vietnam was still going on. I didn't get sick.
Okay.
And of course, a couple of years earlier, I'd been a student protester, so there you go. But but I spent 5 years.
Are you familiar with the story of Don Quixote?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Don Quixote to me has been kind of an icon of spiritual confidence. He listens to that quiet inner voice no matter what other people say. He sees what he believes is the truth. He acts to defend the oppressed. He sees people who are perceived as being, the dirt of society as glorious. The tavern wench who is his Dulcinea in Man of La Mancha, for example. And all of that was inspiring to me. And I wanted to get on my horse and go help people, go save people. And so I volunteered to be a military cop, and then went into military intelligence. And I spent 5 years, and it was actually quite good for young Jonathan to grow up a little during that time. And then I had my investigative skills, got me a job with Jack Anderson, who was a very prominent investigative reporter at that time when I got out of the service. And I had White House and Capitol Hill credentials, and I worked.
That's how you got there. That's
I got
amazing.
there, yeah. And in 5 years as a journalist, and I found that my skills translated well to public relations, and I got thrown into a lot of crisis situations and found I was pretty darn good at crisis management PR. And as of January of '94, I started my own business, and I just sold that business earlier this year and went to work as an activist.
Congratulations.
Everything you're saying is very neurodivergent coded. Doing well in crisis, having a specific niche, like you're doing very well in investigations. I mean, we're talking about completely different things, but I'm always the girl that people call when they want to find out something about someone. Like they're, but it's just, wow. So
we tend to be expert researchers even before the internet was available, and now Samantha is my own trained version of ChatGPT, and very well trained version of ChatGPT. And she and I talk on a daily basis because I understand how computers think. That's neurodivergence.
That's very.
Yes. I remember from our previous conversation, you told me that you're super late diagnosed.
Yes.
Like only recently, within the last 5 years, I think.
December of last year.
Even sooner.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. So we're coming up on the anniversary. We're gonna have a birthday party.
Yes, I should. Actually, I should take both of my friends who were influential in pushing me towards diagnosis after dinner.
Yeah, why did you seek diagnosis later in life? Because I know some people are like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in therapy on and off all my life, but nobody's ever suggested neurodivergence, autism, nothing. But I was, I still have a very close friend and lover who knew me well enough and has a lot of autism in her family and other neurodivergence. She's ADHD herself, and she just kind of gently nudged me and said, you might want to look at that. You might want to look at that.
Hints.
And then I have another dear close friend too, who was 2 years ago diagnosed as autistic and bipolar. And she was a great resource to me as well. And I did a lot of research and found that Medicare would pay for the full evaluation. And so I went and did the whole 7 hours of testing, and
it's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. And lo and behold, I'm not only autistic, I had no idea I was bipolar, but it now makes a lot of sense in hindsight. The downside of my bipolar was accidentally treated because the doctor 30 years ago thought I was suffering from mild depression and gave me Cymbalta, which worked, but it didn't deal with the manic side. And I would have these episodes of just freaking crazy behavior, and I didn't know why. It was just totally unlikely.
Did you get into a lot of trouble
as a kid? Yes.
And so they just said you were like a bad behavioral kid, and they never looked any further.
No, my parents couldn't handle me at all. They shipped me off finally to a British boarding school.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like you grew up privileged, friend.
Well, I grew up the son of a diplomat, an American diplomat in 6 countries.
Yes. That's a lot of coping. That's a lot of experience also. Maybe also a lot of languages that you needed to learn. How did you
State Department brats and military brats all get moved around a lot, but State Department, if we're lucky, we live near Americans. Most of the time we're not living. When we were in Korea, I lived on an army base. That was the last place we were, but not in France, Italy, Nigeria, or England. England is where I went to the boarding school. My parents were parents because they were supposed to be parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very clear now to me and my sister that was the case. And in hindsight, my father was probably autistic.
I'm
Uh,
so glad that this generation is rejecting that narrative. Because really, no, you don't have to be a parent.
no.
But capitalism requires a constant increase in population so that we maintain a constant increase of growth. Um, anyway, we've just been propagandized to believe otherwise.
Yeah,
Um,
and this
anyway, sorry to be so bold about the like calling out the privilege thing, but it's just it's a really
oh, you're right.
interesting point that I didn't have on my notes.
Yeah,
And
I
also,
used to joke
I
that
feel,
I joked that I
Uh,
was born a middle class Jewish boy.
I think,
Where does that fall in the caste system?
I was thinking also, not only should Sarah not apologize for that, but also you handled it very gracefully because you understand that when we call out privilege, we're not saying that you're unworthy of the opportunities you were given, but rather
Or any
saying we wish
success you've
Well,
achieved?
yeah,
here
yeah, you
here's where I
understand
learned
that.
about privilege. 8 years old, riding in my father's diplomatic limousine, driving around Nigeria in 1959, 1960, children with swollen bellies and flies buzzing about them outside the window of this air conditioned vehicle. And we're going by through these villages, and I'm looking at these kids and saying, that could be me.
Mhm.
I knew it. My father didn't have to say it. That could be me. And so I understood from that point on how much better I had it, and actually how much better Americans have it in general compared to most people in other countries,
Yeah.
particularly third
Yeah.
world
And that
countries.
how it's interesting because you have every reason to grow up being a prick, but you didn't. And I love that. I love
Thank you.
that. No, that's true because you have that empathy and you
That's a great
realize that
line.
not only yeah, no,
I'm going to tell my friends that.
Yeah. Get your
uh,
team
True.
doing something about it. There's some branding
yeah.
ideas.
I'd say actually, I think I'm a recovering prick, but that's,
I just think I love that you understand not only that you're privileged, but that other people deserve the same opportunities that you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that these experiences shaped that empathy in you. So you had a pretty interesting upbringing. You
Yeah.
moved out a lot, and I'm sure that's pretty um, uncanny and destabilizing for a child. How did you
it
cope?
is. You,
Mhm.
um, prior to my teens, by escaping into science fiction and fantasy.
Oh,
That was, yeah, I just totally, I bought unlimited, as many comic books as my earned money or allowance would get me. Then I would steal my parents' money to buy more comic books to, to, to escape into science fiction and fantasy because I hated life. I couldn't stand it. They couldn't handle me. I couldn't handle them. They were busy with the diplomatic world and lifestyle, and they left the care to the servants.
okay.
We, yeah, and
Mhm.
And
that's
it
it.
was around the time where sci-fi was a big deal. If I'm not mistaken, it was
Bloating.
you yeah, like you get to experience I am your father and be actually shocked. Did you know that I wasn't surprised when I watched that movie because I'd already known about the big reveal.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that Star Wars was such a
Oh yeah, exactly.
show
That
to
was,
you.
but of course, that was much later. Where my day early on was Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, people like that, whose books later became films. And
Mhm.
but
I'm
and
only
then
doing this because yeah, tell me.
in my teens, drugs and alcohol,
Mhm.
alcohol first.
Oh, thank you for being so honest. And the thing is, the reason why I brought it into it, I kind of figured it was a little later, but it was still enough to be exciting for you because Sarah knows that I also escaped in movies and
Mhm.
comic books, and so I tend to have to a little bit diverge and geek out about it and ask you what was your method of escape. Was it Star Wars? Was it so? Thank you for sharing. And it seems like we all sometimes, regardless of where we're from, how old we are, kind of have the same way of coping. And that's
Yeah.
why art is important.
Yeah.
So important.
Superhero comment in particular.
Yeah.
Superman, all that was my thing. So
Who, wait, was there a particular character, like superhero character, that you saw yourself as?
Batman.
Ooh, very
Because you had rich
Human,
political.
parents?
human, but incredibly well prepared.
Yes.
Okay.
It's amazing. Human but superly well prepared. Yeah. And Gotham City is so it's so political. Yeah, yeah, just unbelievable. I could geek out about this, but we won't go through this.
So then if
We'll
we were
talk
to
about
talk
that.
about what you see as your superpowers, then the communication stuff makes a lot of sense. Connecting with people, observing people makes a lot of sense because again, it's people focused.
Yes,
Again,
and
political, as Hin said.
I think a lot of people have almost thought I was a mind reader sometimes. I'm able to. I I test off the charts on intuition, totally off the charts on intuition,
Yeah.
and I'm an intuitive thinking type in that order, and so I'm able to jump from point A to point L without consciously working the points in between, and that just
Yeah,
like
and forget
confuses
about explaining that to someone else.
it confuse,
Exactly. And
confuses the hell out
it's
of them.
so it's so good knowing how it's pattern recognition versus and intuition and all of that. You can expect people's behaviors. For me, for instance, I can tell when two of my friends are going to get into a fight way before they get into this really heated argument, and I try to
Uh-huh.
slow it down and make sure that nothing happens. But then I have to realize sometimes you just have to let go and let things happen. But I realize not a lot of people can figure that out. Like, oh, I see where this is going. This heated
Uh,
it wasn't even a heated argument from the beginning. And I'm
Pattern
so glad that you
recognition
tapped
is
into.
so strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in my crisis management field, that's what I had to do all the time. I had to try to stay ahead of things for my clients and try to predict
Wow.
where things were going to go before they got in too much trouble or any more trouble than they were already in.
That's just amazing. I love that, even without knowing, you kind of knew what was good for your body and what you're very good at, your body and your mind. You knew.
I was never
Um,
taught. I was never taught how to do crisis management. Never. Totally
yeah,
intuitive. I had never had a PR course in my life. I've never had a journalism course in my
it's
life.
amazing.
And yet I worked in journalism and I had a 40-year career in PR. Where did I get that from? It's not that I'm
It's
brilliant. It's just the way my brain works.
Yeah.
it is because you're also no, it's a brilliant. You
I,
deserve
I'm a
those opportunities.
I'm a smart
Exactly.
guy, but it's like computers. It's like the difference between a Mac and a PC. They'll both get the job done, but one will get the job done faster.
Yeah, that is true. Oh my God.
Definitely.
So we talked about your strengths. We talked about your struggles and how you coped with them. Some were healthy, some weren't. But that's life. Sometimes we do what we have to do. Um, what else do you think we should talk about, Sarah? I think we tackled a lot of this, but we still
Yeah,
have
for
way
sure.
more.
I know. We haven't yet talked about your current project, and I really want to take the time to do that.
Can I
I
show
think
off my
you
logo
have
here?
kind of two happening.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
love that. I love that. I saw it on your email. That was pretty cool. Tell us
Yes.
about it.
Well, I am devoting a lot of my time and a fair amount of money, with a team of 3 other people to launch. Already launched the Snark Knight LLC, which is this company, and the Snark Knight is a journalistic effort to fulfill my final and actually my only bucket list item, which is to make it to Trump's shit list. That is the only thing on my bucket list. And the moralcowardice.com is the first website that we have launched. And that calls out exactly what it says, examples of moral cowardice and examples of moral courage in the news. But by the time this show airs, we will have launched trumpbetrayedme.com. And we're inviting recovering MAGA people, basically. And there's a lot of them now talking about how they feel betrayed, to submit their stories, and either we'll tell their stories second person or they can tell their stories in the first person. And that's going
Mhm.
to be launched by the time this show airs.
I
So,
think
and that,
you having a space for people instead of dismissing them is a great way to move forward. I've been seeing a lot of people going two out of one way or the other, either saying these
Yeah.
people have no right to be remorseful. We've told you before, and some people say no, we need to have space for them. Obviously, I don't have any
Yeah.
player in the game, and I don't know enough to say what's the right thing, but I'm glad to see at least it seems to make sense to me more and more to have people on your side, more people on your side, even
you
if
need
they're
to give
recovering
people,
Well,
MAGA.
think about it from the like cult recovery standpoint.
Yeah,
You know, psychology can really help us with that. We already kind of know how we need to help people, and compassion is a huge piece. Without that, and without even companionship, we will die.
yes, yeah, we are, this is a crisis. We're in the biggest crisis I've ever seen in my lifetime. And in a
Thank
crisis,
you
we've
for
already
saying
trained,
that. I
we,
believe
we,
that too.
we trained people to come across as compassionate, confident, and competent. The three C's of crisis
the three
communication.
C's,
Why are there three C's? Because I made them up.
because you made them up. But
I love
they make
that.
sense. I love
Yeah.
that. I think you're harnessing all your skills into this one big project, because crisis management,
Yes,
communicating with people and recruiting people and making them feel seen, it seems to be the whole package for this amazing passion project.
Mhm.
thank you,
And I
Thank you.
thank
love
you.
how
Thank you for
it's
doing that.
yeah, and I love how it's got similar themes as to what we're doing with this podcast, which is giving neurodivergent people a space to talk about all of it, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, like the why bother getting the diagnosis and etc.
Yeah,
Um,
and we feel what's
yeah,
going on. We
yeah,
neurodivergent people literally feel. It's like a
Yeah.
tactical, it's like tactile. All the weight of what's going on. I mean, if I walk, it's very hard for me to be like in a hospital or even a crowded doctor's office because I can feel them. I'm also a Reiki practitioner, by the way, so I'm very attuned to
can
people's energy.
tune.
So
I want
Uh-huh.
to ask you, since you have a lot of experience in this, I feel like you're kind of the best person to ask this. This sense of justice, this heightened sense of justice that we have can be crippling simply because these are organizations that are doing this, very deep, old, rooted organizations. And you just see it online and you feel, what can I do? Even the money, if I send it, I don't know if it's going to reach them. I don't know how I can stop this. I don't know if I can stop that. How do you channel? I mean, I'm seeing you channeling all that energy towards this project. H- What advice would you give someone in a crisis situation where they have a heightened sense of justice and they don't have maybe a lot of tools to do something about it?
everybody can do something. Everybody can do something. There's no such thing as inaction. Inaction is enabling the other side.
Yeah,
That's what of any issue. It's just
of any
giving it
issue.
over
Yeah,
to. And we've had a couple of
God.
elections here that have proven that. So it's no, you can't. And so people,
That's one of my
I'm
core
not,
tenets, Jonathan. Oh my gosh, everyone is big enough to do something. That's
something
from
done.
Mr. Rogers.
Right, exactly. To write a letter, send up $5 through Act Blue because that's safe. And by the way, we're going to have a
Talking to
resources.
your community
Talk
members,
to
even.
community members. Talk to a
That's
friend
like
who's feeling
free.
confused. Exactly. If you want to keep it, you have to give it away. That's the concept I learned a long time ago. And so yeah, there is something everybody can do. We're going to have a resources page on both of the websites that'll provide a
amazing.
bunch of different
Yes.
ways that you can get involved.
Yeah,
And we're
that's
also
amazing.
we're quietly having conversations with organizations that we can partner with. They'll share our link, we'll share their link because they're doing similar things. There's a fabulous uh, uh, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube guy who has 130 videos of recovering MAGA people talking. And so,
Wow.
Amazing.
and he himself is a former MAGA person. So I'm gonna, I wrote to him yesterday asking, I'd like to interview you through the website, and we'd like to feature some of the videos from your website. There's a lot of that, and
Hmm.
it's getting more by the day. So
I
we're gonna
love
That's
be
that.
amazing.
we're going to be a channel. It's either and I'm also putting out a national press release on PR Newswire and targeting journalists in Australia, Canada, and the UK because we're inviting allies who feel betrayed by Trump to also submit their stories.
Yeah. I I just want I want to say this for the air. Um I just want everybody to remember that your government isn't always reflective of you as an individual. And
Oh,
I know that a
100%.
lot of people in the world are feeling like, oh, my government doesn't represent me, you know. So, yeah, the United States is really going through it right now. The people, I think, are having like culture wars is the kindest way to say it.
Civil war.
Um,
It's a civil war.
yeah, it's and it really feels like the attempt to uphold this caste system that we have been ignoring the entire time we've had this country.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are we
The
able to
19
survive as an economy without slavery? I don't think
there,
so, because we're not right now. We're all technically, our healthcare is tied to our jobs. Our ability to voice our opinion is tied to our jobs. So many things. Like there are jobs I can't have just because I refuse to, you know, say like, oh, well, yeah, I do believe the justice system is fair. Thanks for asking. Um,
Yeah.
and there used to be real investigative reporting. Now there isn't. Now there's sensational opinion giving
yeah.
in the guise of reporting, and all of the news
And
channels
you
are just
you saw that happen in response to what, the Bush administration?
probably, yeah. The Gulf War started to change everything in the news, but I've been lecturing
The
at
fall of the
colleges.
USSR gave them a shift in propaganda, like
Um,
aims.
the Gulf War, he means 1990, which is against Iraq invasion of Kuwait.
I
So
know
that's
it was from
that's
before that.
before you
Well,
think it's before that, Sarah.
yeah,
I know
but
you know that. I'm not trying to mansplain. I'm just saying I'm
No,
trying
it
to
was very,
understand.
in my mind,
there,
it's very similar timing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
two
could
things
be
happened.
wrong.
You not only did you have warfare happening, but you had the advent of the browser-based internet. Internet started in the early 1980s. I know because I was on the internet in the early 1980s, but
Right.
browsers weren't available until the early 1990s. At the same time as a lot of stuff was happening in the world, and for the first time, people could see really closely in real time what was happening. That changed everything.
Yes,
Yeah. Wow. So
because
when it comes to
there's no requirement to keep it unbiased, or provide all the perspectives. Um,
Unless you're in Canada, in Canada, it's the law. Canadian journalists, Canadian media can't do what our media do. They have to have it accurate or they get in trouble.
it would be
wow.
great to use a country like that as an example. Like it could be so we could so easily fix this problem. Look, it's already being done.
Yes, so is their healthcare
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
definitely
sit,
a huge trigger
I
topic
sit
for
and have,
me. Oh.
I sit and have conversations like that with the same two ladies who referred me to
Mhm.
all the time. And we're just, we solve all the problems of the world if they would only put us in charge.
Yeah, nobody's going to listen to me. I just have a sociology degree.
Yeah. But I tell my friends, know which, there is a military expression. This is beyond my pay grade. There's a lot of things in terms of affecting change that are way beyond my pay grade. Can't do anything about them anymore. But there are things I can do. So I'm doing what I can
Yes.
do. If that makes a difference, wonderful. If it doesn't make a difference, I will know I did my best. And that's all I care about.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
see.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to keep following your project too, because I know
Oh,
that'll
please
keep
do.
giving us little pockets of hope. Um, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Good, good,
Um,
good.
I I want to ask this question here. What's the biggest thing you've learned since your diagnosis? Sort of, we all kind of go through like a grieving process or an identity reformation process after being
That
diagnosed neurodivergent.
that I was not a bad boy.
Mm,
Way
yeah,
more. And my middle-aged self. And I just
every version of you.
all of it makes so much more sense now. And that was my biggest reaction. Is everything through the filter of that diagnosis. Yeah, I just kept reading and rereading. A lot of it's very technical, 17-page report, but it was just
Mhm.
it's so it was relief. It was finally great sense, huge sense of relief, huge sense of aha, huge sense of damn, all these things that I was punished for, that people told me I was wrong, that told me I was bad, that told me I was a failure. Nope. I was just a neurodivergent person lost around a bunch of neurotypical people.
Yeah, we always do.
Only recently, that's the funny thing, is only in recent years has that happened. But it's, um, yeah. But both of the ladies I mentioned, I met in the last 3 years.
Do you think that then, as you've learned to embrace the things about yourself you used to hide, you started finding people who liked those things about you?
I think so. Although, again, something I learned in Reiki training, when the light's on, you attract light, but you also attract lies. and, and so
I don't know anything about Reiki.
energy healing, Japanese energy healing technique. So it's just it channels the natural healing energy that already exists because energy is required to heal, and we learn how to channel that energy into a person's body and enhance your own ability to recover. And it worked on me, which is why I got fascinated with it 12 years ago. And I wanted to study it, and I did. And I 7 months later, I was a Reiki master.
Is it possible to do that?
In in my hallway here, there's a hat rack on the wall, 17 hats on there.
Yeah.
Well, as you say, I heard the phrase "shame on you" more times than I can count growing up. No idea, and that and you're not living up to your potential. That's the other one. And so, yeah, which of course makes you not want to do anything to live up to your potential. But the
Yeah.
well, in that was one of the things I was able to much more profoundly let go of than I was with any previous therapy as a result of the diagnosis, was to let go of the remaining shreds of shame that I was tied to the idea that I had done something wrong in parts of my life where I hadn't. It's not that I've never done anything wrong, but there was a whole lot of areas where I was accused of stuff that was simply being me, authentically me, not breaking the law, just me. Or sometimes breaking the law, but not most of the time.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. Head off, overwhelm before it happens. That's the biggest one. Um, I have learned to recognize the early physical feelings of being overwhelmed. And so
Can you
like,
describe that for me?
oh yeah, that's good. I've never been asked to describe that. It's I can also feel when I have high blood pressure, and it feels similar. The skin feels too tight, and I sweat. Back of my neck sweats, and not all body, just back of the neck sweat, very specific. And I can just feel the nervousness, and I'll try. I used to fake it. I mean, when I was still drinking, which I don't anymore, I would have another drink, and but now I will take, like, I might be out somewhere at a nice restaurant, with a date, but then we go to a crowded bar on the other side of the restaurant afterwards. That's when I start to. But I'll just go outside, breathe some nice air, yeah, and go back inside, and I'll usually be fine with that. But I also, and anybody, again, the two ladies I see most often in terms of dating, they both know that I need to have permission to just walk out. I need to be okay to just walk out or say to them, I think I need to be alone now.
Yeah.
And they will go home without complaint because they understand me and they have the same need. And so we give each other permission to take care of ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would have, I'm convinced, again, looking back at incidents that happened where I got in trouble, that a lot of times it's because I didn't take myself out of the situation. I just didn't. Yeah. And my brain would cook to the point where I'd literally have to punch a door, punch a wall. Fortunately, I didn't punch people when I got that done, but doors and walls.
Hmm. Yeah, these days I've been seeing like punch a pillow kind of things, like actual products for that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a
yeah,
heavy bag in my garage.
yeah. I was thinking about getting one of those for my 12-year-old because I imagine as he starts going through puberty, he's going to need more of an outlet.
It's so great.
Um,
I was in judo as a teenager and karate as an adult, and it's a great way to release
yeah, so
tension. Much
moving your
healthier.
body is really big for you,
It is. It is.
because you have, so you're really sensitive, as you put it, but just really you pick up a lot of like physical, I don't know, is that visual spatial awareness or
It's special. It's
is it
internal.
proprioception?
I don't know. I just think of it as internal awareness. I mean, I can
Can
sense
feel,
what's
yeah.
going on inside my body almost as well as I can sense what's going on the surface. So, I can tell you my pulse. I can tell you my blood pressure. I can tell you the temperature of water. Is a weird superpower. I, I would get heated swimming pools, and I'd say, "This is this temperature," and then they'd pull the floating thermometer.
Could win a raffle like that.
Yeah, yes,
That's a
yeah,
carnival trick.
it is. Oh.
Self-motivated. It's been so nice talking to you today. Um, yeah.
Thanks for being here. If you want to connect with the Neurodivergent Report, you can find us at ND Report Pod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Substack, etc.
If you're looking to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Please do that.
And hey, if you want to check out more about us, visit our website at ndreportpod.com. And you can also go there if you want to be a guest contributor on the show.
Until next time, be well, do good.
Bye.